Nobody in the basketball world was prepared for this. Not Team USA, not the coaches, not the veterans who thought they ran the camp, and definitely not the media that has been desperately trying to keep this under wraps for days. Because Caitlin Clark, the biggest name in women's basketball, the face of the sport, the player carrying an entire league on her back, finally snapped. And what she said behind closed doors left the entire Team USA staff in absolute silence. According to multiple insiders who were present during the confrontation, Caitlin Clark didn't walk out quietly. She didn't mumble. She didn't crack under pressure. She looked the coaches dead in the eyes and said one sentence that instantly sent shockwaves through the entire facility. "If this is how Team USA works, I quit." Players froze. Staff panicked. Veterans locked eyes with each other, realizing the situation had spiraled way beyond a rookie adjustment. But what pushed Caitlin to this breaking point? Sources say it wasn't one moment. It was a buildup, a pattern, a string of shady treatment and behind-the-scenes power moves designed to humble her, test her, and in some cases, break her. And for the first time ever, Caitlin Clark is done staying quiet. She exposed exactly what happened during drills, what was said in closed-door meetings, who tried to put her in her place, and the one veteran who allegedly crossed a line no player should ever cross. And the craziest part? Several coaches admitted privately that if Caitlin walked out, Team USA would have a full-blown public disaster on their hands, because what she knows and what she's willing to reveal now could upend the entire hierarchy of women's basketball. This is bigger than conflict, bigger than locker room tension, bigger than egos. This is a power shift, and Caitlin Clark is about to blow the lid wide open. Before the shocking "I quit" moment that sent Team USA officials scrambling, before the whispers leaked out of closed-door meetings, before reporters suddenly went silent and players began unfollowing each other on social media, this story had already been simmering for months, long before Caitlin Clark ever stepped foot into the Team USA camp. Because the truth is, the tension didn't start at camp. It didn't start during the first practice. It didn't even start when the roster conversations began. The truth began the moment Caitlin Clark entered women's basketball and rewrote the rules in real time. From the moment she touched a college court, Caitlin became a phenomenon. A ticket-selling, ratings-breaking, culture-shifting phenomenon. Not just a talented player, not just a future star, but a once-in-a-generation force who brought millions of new fans to women's basketball. And that kind of impact doesn't come without backlash. Veterans felt it, coaches noticed it, analysts debated it. Some embraced the rise, others resented it. Because Caitlin wasn't just the new girl. She was the one making people care. She was the one kids lined up to see. She was the one networks fought over. She was the one jersey sales exploded for. And in the world of elite sports, especially on a national team built on seniority, hierarchy, and legacy, that kind of rising power doesn't just shake the room. It threatens it. So when Caitlin Clark received her invitation to Team USA camp, the reaction inside the program was not the applause fans expected. Some were excited, some were curious, but others, they were offended. Just too early. She hasn't earned her stripes yet. She thinks she's bigger than the program. We need proven players, not hype. Those were real comments, whispered privately, repeated by insiders, echoed through hallways and training facilities long before Caitlin even arrived. And the veterans who felt the most threatened weren't shy about it. They believed Team USA was their turf, their foundation, their legacy. They didn't want a 22-year-old superstar walking in and shifting the spotlight. And Caitlin? She felt the energy the moment she walked through the doors. The looks, the whispers, the cold shoulders, the accidental elbows in practice. The subtle messages disguised as jokes. Insiders say one veteran even muttered, "She needs to be humbled before Paris." Another reportedly said, "Let's see how she handles playing real defense." The tone was set before Caitlin ever touched a ball. But Caitlin Clark wasn't oblivious. She wasn't naive. She wasn't intimidated. She walked into camp with the same quiet confidence she brought to the NCAA. Shoulders back, chin high, eyes locked in. She wasn't there to take over. She wasn't there to disrespect anyone. She was there to learn. But from the first drill, something felt off. Veterans refused to pass to her. Coaches paired her in drills designed to break rhythm. Meetings were held without her. On film sessions, highlighted her mistakes while ignoring others. Sources say Caitlin brushed it off at first. She told herself, "They're testing me. They're competitors. It's part of the process." But the tests weren't ending. They were escalating. One insider described it like this: "It wasn't hazing. It was sabotage." And if that wasn't enough, the media attention around Caitlin brought pressure from outside the facility too. Reporters demanded updates on her performance. Networks asked for exclusive content. Fans flooded team pages asking where Caitlin was, who she was practicing with, what her role would be. And the veterans hated it. Some felt overshadowed. Some felt disrespected. Some felt invisible. Especially the ones who had been with Team USA for years. This made the atmosphere even colder. But the real breaking point? It came during a scrimmage. A simple drill that spiraled into something so explosive that coaches had to stop the entire session. During a transition drill, Caitlin called for the ball. She was wide open, no defender within 10 feet. A veteran guard looked at her, looked her dead in the eye, and intentionally turned the other direction. Not once, not twice, multiple times. Players noticed, coaches noticed, Caitlin noticed. But she kept her composure. Then came the hit. A body check so aggressive, so unnecessary, that staff watching from the sideline gasped. Caitlin hit the floor, hard. And instead of helping her up, the veteran who knocked her down walked past her and muttered something under her breath that turned every head in the gym. Sources wouldn't repeat the exact words, but they describe it as personal, ugly, disrespectful. Caitlin got up slowly. Didn't cry, didn't show emotion, didn't retaliate. She just stared, not with anger, but with disappointment. But the veterans weren't done. At the next timeout, when someone said loud enough for staff to hear, "She better get used to the bench," that was the moment everything shifted. Caitlin finally realized this wasn't competitiveness. This wasn't intensity. This wasn't basketball culture. This was targeted, directed, intentional. And when practice ended, coaches didn't pull the veteran aside. They didn't address the hit. They didn't check on Caitlin. They just dismissed everyone like nothing happened. So Caitlin walked to the locker room holding back tears, not from pain, but from disbelief. She later told someone close to her, "I didn't come here to be anybody's enemy. I came here to work." But the final straw didn't come from a player. It came from a coach. During a team meeting, Caitlin asked for clarification on a defensive scheme she hadn't learned yet, because they changed it without notifying her group. And the coach snapped back, "If you spent less time worrying about attention and more time studying, you'd already know." The room went silent. Caitlin's face dropped. Players shifted uncomfortably. Even the veterans who didn't like her felt that line cross a boundary. Caitlin took a breath. Another. Then she stood up, and the words that came out of her mouth shook the entire Team USA program. If this is what Team USA is, if this is the environment, if this is how you treat the people who are supposed to represent this country, she pushed her chair in slowly, eyes filled with fire. "Then I quit." Gasps, shouts, chaos. Coaches scrambled, executives panicked, players looked stunned. Because Caitlin Clark didn't yell. She didn't lash out. She didn't break down. She walked out with her head held high. And in behind her, a storm was brewing. Because what she exposed next, what she confessed in the hallway to a staffer, is the part that Team USA is desperate to hide. The hallway outside the Team USA conference room was cold, silent, and suffocating. The kind of silence that swallows sound, the kind that happens right after a bomb goes off but before people realize they're injured. Caitlin Clark wasn't crying. She wasn't shaking. She wasn't scared. She was done. She walked with purpose, each step echoing against the tiles as players inside whispered, coaches scrambled, and staff members exchanged wide-eyed glances that screamed, "This just became a national problem." A young staffer, someone who had been quietly supporting Caitlin since the start of camp, ran after her. "Caitlin, wait, please. What just happened in there?" Caitlin didn't turn around. Her voice was calm, steady, terrifyingly controlled. "You saw what happened. But you said you quit, and you actually said the words. Do you know what the media will do with that?" Caitlin stopped walking. Slowly, she turned her head, eyes sharp, jaw tight, and whispered, "They can't spin what I'm about to expose." The staffer froze. "What do you mean?" Caitlin exhaled deeply. "Because everything that happened in this camp isn't new." Those words hit like a shockwave. Not new, meaning it had happened before, meaning she wasn't the only one, and meaning Team USA had a pattern nobody had the courage to speak up about. The staffer's voice shook. "Caitlin, what are you saying?" And then she said the sentence that cracked the entire story open. "I'm not the first player they tried to break. I'm just the first one who refused to stay quiet." Her voice didn't tremble. Her eyes didn't drift. She meant it. The staffer covered their mouth. Oh my God. But Caitlin wasn't finished. She revealed something she had been holding inside since day one. Something the public has never heard. Something players whisper but never confirm. "There's a veteran here who's been bullying rookies for years. It's an open secret. Everyone knows. Nobody stops her." The staffer whispered, "You're talking about her, aren't you?" Caitlin didn't reply, but her silence confirmed everything. This veteran wasn't just a star. She was a powerhouse, a locker room ruler, like a player who built her career on intimidation and control, and whose influence reached coaches, executives, and even the media. Caitlin continued, "She targeted me from day one, not because I disrespected her, not because I'm a rookie, because I'm bigger than she ever was." The staffer gasped quietly. Caitlin wasn't bragging. She was stating a fact. "She can't stand that no matter what she does, the world watches me. And instead of letting the game grow, she tried to sabotage me." Then Caitlin dropped the first bomb. "She's the one who ordered that hit on me during the scrimmage." The staffer stepped back. No way. She wouldn't." Caitlin cut them off sharply. She whispered to the defender, "Make sure she feels it." I heard her, loud and clear. The staffer felt their stomach twist. Because if that was true, this wasn't competition. This was malicious. Caitlin continued walking toward the exit. "They think they're protecting some sacred hierarchy. They think Team USA is theirs to guard. But last I checked, this is still America. And you earn your spot. You don't bully for it." The staffer swallowed hard. "So what happens now?" Caitlin stopped again, this time at the glass exit doors, staring out at the parking lot lit by training facility floodlights. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "They crossed a line when they went after my integrity. But they crossed an even bigger one when they went after my safety." The staffer blinked. They what?" Caitlin inhaled sharply, bracing herself. "I wasn't going to say this, but after that meeting, after being humiliated in front of the whole team, they left me no choice." Her hands clenched into fists. "Someone tampered with my practice gear." The staffer's jaw dropped. "Tampered? How?" Caitlin turned, eyes blazing. "My shoes were altered, not replaced. Altered. The soles were shaved slightly so I'd lose balance. And guess when I noticed? The staffer whispered, "Right before the scrimmage started?" Caitlin nodded. "That's why I slipped twice during drills. That's why my ankle twisted. That's why that accidental hit sent me to the floor harder than it should have." The staffer felt their entire body go cold. "Caitlin, that's dangerous. That's criminal." Caitlin's jaw tightened. "They wanted to embarrass me, not injure me. Sorry, but someone went too far. And when I confronted the equipment manager, he said something that shook me to my core." The staffer leaned in. "What did he say?" Caitlin looked them dead in the eyes. "He said, 'I'm just doing what the coaching staff told me.'" The staffer gasped. No, the coaches wouldn't." But Caitlin cut them off again. One coach in particular. The staffer knew exactly who she meant. A coach notorious for controlling players. And a coach who built her reputation on demanding obedience. A coach who never liked Caitlin's fame, influence, or independence. Caitlin took a shaky breath. Once I realized I wasn't safe here, I knew I had to walk out. The staffer covered their mouth, tears forming. "Caitlin, this is going to destroy the program. This is bigger than you, bigger than the team. This is..." But Caitlin wasn't done. She whispered the second bombshell, the one that becomes the first major twist. "I caught them planning to bench me, even if I outplayed everyone." The staffer froze completely. "How do you know that?" Caitlin looked away, her voice cracking for the first time. "Because I found the rotation chart. They left it in a folder. The title said, 'Contingency Plan, Limit CC Minutes.'" The staffer shook their head. Why would they do that? Caitlin's eyes filled with hurt and rage. Because they didn't want the world to see me shine on the biggest stage. They would rather lose with their favorites than win with me. And that's when the first twist fully hit. Caitlin wasn't leaving because she was emotional. She wasn't leaving because she couldn't handle pressure. She wasn't leaving because veterans were tough on her. She was leaving because Team USA was rigged against her from the start. A scripted hierarchy, a planned narrative, a deliberate sabotage. And when the final punch, Caitlin revealed the moment that truly broke her. I overheard a coach say, "She's not one of us." The staffer felt tears fall. Oh my God. Caitlin looked toward the exit. They don't deserve me. They don't deserve the fans I brought. They don't deserve the attention I created. And they definitely don't deserve my loyalty. The staffer whispered, "So, what now?" Caitlin pushed the door open. "Now, I tell the world exactly what Team USA tried to hide." The door shut behind her. And that was the moment Team USA officials realized. They weren't dealing with a rookie. They were dealing with the one player they could never silence. By the time Caitlin Clark stepped into the parking lot, the cold night air felt warmer than anything she had just walked away from inside that building. Her phone started vibrating. Text after text, call after call. Players, coaches, reporters, agents. There were people who hadn't spoken to her in months suddenly wanting to know, "What happened? Is it true you walked out? Don't post anything yet. Please don't make this worse. Caitlin, answer your phone now." She ignored all of it. She wasn't going back. Not inside, not emotionally, not ever. But inside the facility, chaos was erupting like wildfire. The moment Caitlin left the room, the veteran players started talking at once. Loud, angry, anxious whispering. She can't just quit. What if the media finds out? This is going to blow up. I told y'all she wasn't ready. What if she exposes us? Someone shut this down now. Meanwhile, the coaches were standing in the front of the room, pale, stiff, terrified. Because they weren't just dealing with a frustrated player. They were dealing with the biggest star women's basketball had produced in 30 years. And she was walking away. One assistant coach whispered to the head coach, "If she goes public with any of what happened today, we're finished." The head coach didn't blink. "She won't. She's emotional. She'll cool off." Another assistant shook their head. "You don't know her. Caitlin doesn't bluff. If she feels disrespected, she will speak out." Back in the locker room, some players were furious. Not because Caitlin left, but because of what they knew she knew. One veteran slammed her fist into her locker. "Nina, she better not talk about the scrimmage." Another said, "If she exposes what happened with the rotation chart, we're all getting dragged." A third whispered the line that revealed everything. She saw the plan. She wasn't supposed to see it. Bingo. They had a cover-up on their hands. And they knew it. Meanwhile, in the hallway, the staffer who spoke to Caitlin earlier rushed back into the coach's office. "We have a major problem." The head coach didn't even look up from his notes. "What now?" The staffer swallowed. "Caitlin said she's going public. Tonight." The coach froze. "What do you mean public?" "I mean, she's going to expose everything, the sabotage, the bullying, the tampered gear, all of it." The room fell silent. One coach whispered, "We're dead." Another muttered, "This is what happens when we let the media pick our players." Suddenly, a senior Team USA official stepped inside the room. Someone high-ranking enough that even the head coach straightened his posture. He said one sentence, "Stop her before she speaks." Inside the locker room, though, something unexpected was happening. A younger player, someone who had admired Caitlin since college, sat quietly on the bench, staring at her phone, tears in her eyes. Finally, she whispered to another rookie. Everything Caitlin said, she wasn't lying. The rookie looked shocked. "You saw them tamper with her shoes?" "I saw them whispering over her locker before practice. I didn't know what they were doing, but now I do." The rookie exhaled sharply. "Are you going to say something?" The young player shook her head. "They'll ruin me if I do." And that was the culture Caitlin walked out of. Back outside, Caitlin reached her car, but she didn't drive away. She sat in the driver's seat, staring at her reflection, replaying every moment. The hit, the whispers, like the sabotage, the meetings, the humiliation. Then she replayed the most painful thing, the coach's voice saying, "She's not one of us." Tears finally slipped down her cheeks, not because she felt weak, but because she finally understood. They never wanted her there. Not because she wasn't good enough, but because she was too good. And then, her phone buzzed again. This time, it was her agent. "Caitlin, call me now. We have a situation." Caitlin answered. "What?" Her agent exhaled sharply. They're already spinning the story. Sources inside Team USA are telling reporters you overreacted and walked out during a normal practice. They're trying to make you look unstable. Caitlin felt her chest tighten. Of course they are. That's not the worst part, her agent continued. They're preparing a statement saying you misunderstood instructions and acted emotionally. Caitlin's eyes narrowed. They want to paint me as dramatic. They want to discredit you before you speak, her agent said. Classic damage control. Caitlin's anger started rising again. White hot, electric, blinding. They sabotaged my gear, targeted me in drills, sidelined me in meetings, and told players to freeze me out. And now, they get to control the narrative? Not if you speak first, her agent whispered. Caitlin stared straight ahead. Then I'm speaking tonight. Back inside the building, the panic was spreading. A veteran player stormed into the coach's office. You better fix this. If she talks, we all look like bullies. The head coach rubbed his temples. We will handle it. No, you don't get it, the veteran snapped. "She has proof. She saw the rotation chart. She knows we were planning to bench her." Another coach whispered, "She also heard you tell the defender to hit her." The room fell silent. Then the veteran hissed, "If that leaks, my career is done." Meanwhile, in a separate office, the senior Team USA official was on the phone with someone high-ranking in the Basketball Federation. Yes, it's out of control," he said, pacing. "No, she hasn't posted yet, but if she does, the internet will destroy us." A long silence. Then he said the most telling sentence. "If she chooses to go public, we're shifting blame. We protect the program, not the player." Back outside, Caitlin wiped her tears and hit record on her phone. She wasn't scared. She wasn't confused. She was ready. But just before she uploaded her video, a notification popped up. A DM from someone inside Team USA. No name, no profile picture. The message said, "You don't know the real reason they were trying to silence you." Caitlin stared at the message, confused, and another message came instantly. "You think it was jealousy." A third, "You think it was politics." A fourth, "You think it was veterans protecting their spot." Then the bomb. "You're wrong." Caitlin felt her stomach twist. A final message came through. "They weren't sabotaging you because you're Caitlin Clark." She frowned. "Then why?" The reply came. "They were sabotaging you because of WHO wants you on the team, and what that person is planning to reveal." Caitlin froze. Her heart stopped. What person? What are they planning? Then the last message arrived. The one that changed everything. "You were never the target. You're the blocker, and you just stepped out of the way." Caitlin stared at the screen, horrified. Someone was using her. Someone bigger than Team USA. Someone with power. Someone with influence. And now, she had walked out of the only place that could protect her. The parking lot was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of eerie stillness that feels staged, like the world itself was holding its breath. Caitlin stared at the final message on her screen. "You were never the target. You're the blocker, and you just stepped out of the way." Her heart hammered in her chest. Blocker? Blocker for what? For who? She read the message again and again, until the words blurred into a terrifying puzzle piece that refused to fit into the picture she thought she understood. Suddenly, the staffer from earlier burst through the facility doors, jogging toward her. Caitlin, wait! Don't leave yet! You're in danger!" Caitlin narrowed her eyes. In danger from WHO? The veterans? The coaches? Team USA? The staffers shook their head violently. No. From the person behind all of this. The words froze her. The staffer swallowed hard. You weren't sabotaged because they hate you. You were sabotaged so you wouldn't succeed here, so you wouldn't be on the final roster, so you wouldn't be the one standing in the way when a certain person makes their move. Caitlin stepped back. What move? Who are you talking about? The staffer looked around nervously, lowering their voice. There's someone outside Team USA, someone with real power, who wants a specific veteran to be the face of women's basketball for the Olympics. Not you, not the new generation. Her. Caitlin blinked slowly. You're saying this entire camp was rigged so she gets the spotlight? The staffer nodded. She has connections, sponsorship deals, political influence, and someone very high up wants her to carry Team USA, not you. Caitlin's stomach twisted. So the veterans weren't sabotaging me for themselves. No, the staffer whispered. They were sabotaging you because they were ordered to. Caitlin felt her pulse race. By WHO. The staffer hesitated, then whispered the name. Caitlin's eyes widened. Her? Are you serious? Why would she be involved? The staffer nodded rapidly. Because you're too big, too influential, too unpredictable. You're not tied to the old system. You don't owe anyone anything. And that scares them. Caitlin felt a wave of heat rise through her chest. So, I was never the problem. You were the threat. Caitlin's phone buzzed again. Another DM from the same anonymous account. Her fingers shook as she opened it. As the message said, "You think walking out gives you power. It doesn't. It gives them exactly what they wanted." Her breath hitched. "They wanted me to quit," she whispered. "Yes," the staffer said, "because now the old guard gets the roster spot without having to beat you for it." But the message wasn't done. Another line appeared. "Don't believe me? Check the news." Caitlin switched apps instantly. Her heart dropped. Said a major sports outlet had already posted. Breaking: Team USA expected to replace Caitlin Clark with longtime veteran. Official announcement coming. Caitlin felt like the ground disappeared beneath her. "They already replaced me within minutes?" The staffer's voice cracked. "Because they expected you to walk out. This entire day, from the drills to the hit to the meeting, was engineered to push you over the edge." A chilling realization slammed into Caitlin. So the coach, the rotation chart, the tampered shoes, all of it. The staffer nodded. A coordinated effort. Caitlin stared at the ground. A slow, burning anger started rising in her chest like molten steel. "This isn't just sabotage," she whispered. "No," the staffer said quietly. "This is a takedown." And then her phone buzzed again. A new message from the same anonymous account. This one contained a video. Caitlin hesitated, then pressed play. On the screen showed a dark boardroom. Silhouettes seated around a long table. A projector illuminated with roster notes and sponsorship agreements. A voice, unmistakably the influential figure the staffer mentioned, said, "We cannot let Caitlin Clark control the narrative. She's too powerful. Limit her minutes. Sabotage if necessary. She must not make the final roster." Caitlin's entire world tilted. Her hands trembled, her jaw locked. And then the voice delivered the final blow. If she refuses to break, then break her reputation instead. The video cut to black. Caitlin felt like someone had punched the air out of her lungs. This wasn't tension. This wasn't jealousy. This wasn't competitiveness. This was an organized campaign to destroy her place on Team USA and control the face of women's basketball. Caitlin whispered, "They were scared of me." The staffer shook their head. "No, they were scared of what happens when someone like you can't be controlled." Then, suddenly, headlights flashed across the parking lot. A black SUV pulled up slowly, tinted windows reflecting the facility lights. Caitlin took a step back. "Is that someone from Team USA?" The staffer's face drained of color. "No, that's one of her people." The back door opened. A tall figure stepped out. A voice called out across the parking lot. "Caitlin, we need to talk." Caitlin froze. Her pulse roared in her ears. The staffer whispered urgently, "Do not go with them." The figure took another step forward. "Caitlin, walking out was a mistake. Let's discuss how to fix this." Caitlin's jaw tightened. "There's nothing to fix." The figure smirked. "Oh, but there is. You think exposing us will save you? It'll only expose you." Caitlin's heart raced. "What are you talking about?" The figure folded their hands behind their back. "You have secrets too, Caitlin. Ones we can release just as easily as you release ours." Her breath caught. "What secrets?" The figure grinned. "Ask your college coach." Caitlin's knees weakened. College coach? What about her college coach? But before she could respond, the figure added one last sentence. "You think tonight was about stopping you. It wasn't." It was about preparing the world for what you're really hiding. Caitlin felt her entire world collapse. What am I hiding? The figure opened their car door. You'll find out tomorrow. And just like that, they were gone, leaving Caitlin shaking in the parking lot, realizing the biggest twist of all. She wasn't just exposing Team USA. Team USA was preparing to expose her. And that, right there, is where everything stops. Caitlin Clark standing alone in the parking lot, the black SUV disappearing into the dark, the words, "Ask your college coach," echoing in her head, and the horrifying realization that she isn't the only one holding a secret. Mapa Team USA isn't just scared of her talent. They're scared of what she knows, and even more terrified of what she might reveal if they push her too far. But now Caitlin understands something she never realized before. This wasn't about basketball. This wasn't about minutes. This wasn't about a rotation chart, or a veteran ego, or a bad practice. This was a power war, a political battle, a marketing battle, a battle for control over the future of women's basketball. Someone out there, someone with influence, reach, and motives deeper than the Olympics, orchestrated everything: the sabotage, the humiliation, the pressure, the hit, the media spin, the setup. And now they're preparing to fight back against Caitlin with secrets from her own past. Secrets tied to her college program. Secrets she herself may not even know. Secrets that were buried until tonight. This isn't the end of the story. This is the beginning of the biggest scandal women's basketball has ever seen. But before the next chapter drops, you need to weigh in right now. Do you think Caitlin is being framed? Do you believe the boardroom video is real? Do you think the veterans were following orders or acting on their own jealousy? WHO, do you think is the powerful figure pulling the strings? And most importantly, what secret from Caitlin's college years are they threatening to expose? Drop your theories. Go crazy with it. This is the moment where you help shape the investigation. Make sure you smash the like button. It tells the algorithm people need this story. Hit subscribe, because the next chapter will expose the mastermind behind the sabotage. Turn on notifications, so you don't miss the moment Caitlin fights back and the truth finally comes out. And this isn't just basketball anymore. This is a war for the future of the sport. And Caitlin Clark is right in the middle of it. The next episode, it'll change everything.